Things only seem to be getting worse for Vince McMahon. We're seeing that he's been completely erased from WWE history. As we see in WWE 2K24, his face is blurred out in every segment where he's featured, like when he announced that Charlotte Flair was going to take Becky's spot for WrestleMania 35. On top of that, TKO president and COO Mark Shapiro was asked about Vince McMahon ever coming back to WWE, and this was his reply: "We're not in conversations with Vince McMahon. We don't know his motives, his plans, or his timeline. He does not work for the company, doesn't come into the offices, and he's not coming back to the company." And that's where we sit. Not only is he being erased, but he's most likely never coming back. McMahon even sold 5 million shares the other day of the company. He's definitely done with the WWE. We don't have to ever worry about him coming back and trying to ruin the company or the creative team ever again. It's really great to see that TKO is taking this situation very seriously, because the things that are in the lawsuit are horrible. Vince McMahon should never come back to WWE if those allegations are indeed 100% accurate. It's a shame that he had to tarnish his legacy like that, all the years he put in the business and the company, and unfortunately he will forever be remembered for this case. It sucks, but that's kind of what he did to himself. Anyways, let's move over to the next topic. And John Cena was on First Take today, and he was asked if he enjoyed suiting up or if he likes wearing his jorts. And John Cena went out of his way to bring up WrestleMania 40 and said that he hopes to be wearing his jorts for that show, and I think we all want to see him return and have another match in that ring. I don't really know who he would face though. I can't see it being Solo Sikoa again. I don't think anybody even wants to see that match one more time. The first time was kind of boring, and after beating John Cena for the first time, Solo did nothing. John Cena getting his win back really wouldn't do too much for me. I would have said Logan Paul, but it seems like he has beef with Randy Orton as well as Kevin Owens. I honestly think that he's not going to have a match at all, but I think he will be involved in the Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes stuff. I have a feeling that the Bloodline is going to win the first night, and then they're going to try to pull up some nonsense in the second night, and unfortunately Seth Rollins won't be able to help Cody Rhodes because he probably will lose his match and be injured or whatever by Drew McIntyre, and that's when the Bloodline's past will come back to haunt them. This could include Jey Uso, John Cena, and maybe even Stone Cold Steve Austin all coming out to save Cody Rhodes and ensure that it's a fair match. I wouldn't mind if this would be John Cena's spot for WrestleMania, honestly. This would be a moment that we would never forget. What do you guys think that John Cena should do in Philly? Do you like my idea, or do you have other plans for John Cena? Sting's final match just happened a few nights ago, and we have some new details on some things that went down that night thanks to Sports Illustrated. The first is about Darby Allin and the controversial spot. Sports Illustrated reported this: multiple people confirmed that this spot during Sting's retirement match, where Darby Allin swantons off the ladder through the glass, was the one spot Darby wanted above all. There was a plan B with a different finish in the event if he could not return to the match, which turned out to be no more than a precaution. We have some more details about this spot and the safety that went into it as well. Once it was determined that Darby Allin would make the jump off the ladder through the glass at AEW Revolution, safety matters were applied. A rehearsal occurred earlier than usual in the day, and a stunt coordinator instructed how to place the items and receive the proper protocols. There were also nearby doctors anticipating the spot, and they were on high alert. And had Darby not been able to return to the match, the Young Bucks were prepared to call an alternate finish. It's really crazy to hear about all the things that took place behind the scenes. It really makes sense because this was a dangerous spot that could have gone completely wrong and changed everything about the match. And I'm convinced that Darby Allin is not human at this point. This man literally never gets hurt and does the worst and craziest bumps of all time. It's also wild to think that this guy had to do a rehearsal earlier as well. Just imagine doing this bump twice. Like, come on, that's crazy. I did see a report from Sportskeeda saying this about the spot, and it says this: the legal team of AEW has allegedly refused any responsibility for the glass shard injuries that fans sustained from the brutal spot at AEW Revolution. Fans reportedly sent images of their injuries to officials, but they were turned away. If that's true, that's kind of insane. I mean, you can clearly see the glass flying in the crowd. AEW has to take some accountability for this spot, in my opinion. Anyways, the last detail we got about Sting's final match is this. For those involved in the construction of Sting's retirement match, including Tony Khan, it was imperative that Sting won. Sting preferred to give the moment and momentum to the Young Bucks, but that was not going to happen, as Khan and the Bucks all firmly believed that Sting should end his career with a victory. Khan, the Bucks, and Sting ultimately agreed that a fan-happy ending would be best for AEW, and I think this was the right decision. I usually like to see the person retiring lose, but this made sense. Sometimes it's nice to end a career on a high note. We don't need to see these legends always taking L's before they hang up the boots. This was a nice move by Tony Khan as well as the Young Bucks. Speaking of AEW, Sports Illustrated just released a picture of their new logo, stage, and presentation, and I'm not a fan of this at all. I like their other logos in the past and the other stages they had, but at the end of the day though, this doesn't really make or break a show in my opinion. It's all about the product, the storylines, the wrestling, that's all that matters. But my opinion is that this just isn't that appealing to look at. Paul Heyman recently had an interview with the New York Post, and he spoke about the storyline with Roman Reigns, and this is what he said about it. When Roman Reigns and I had the chance to work together starting in August of 2020, our designation was to put together a body of work that would, upon reflection, compete with Peaky Blinders, The Sopranos, The Wire, Fargo, Breaking Bad, the most compelling dramas with the most riveting villains that anyone has ever seen. It's a disruption of what had become the status quo in sports entertainment, and then a constant search for us to disrupt that disruption. I think it's fair to say that this has been accomplished. Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns created one of the most compelling WWE stories of all time, and depending on how it ends, personally, I want to see Roman Reigns actually turn babyface with The Rock turning on Roman and aligning himself with the Bloodline. I think that could be the greatest ending, but if that happens, it would be the greatest story of all time in my opinion, because those 4 years were generational. Heyman even revealed that him and Roman have a huge say in the storyline and when it comes to the music and the story itself, and that's probably why he's been champion for 3 years now. I'm not complaining because I've been loving the journey so far, and I can't wait to see it continue after WrestleMania, especially with the new factor, which is The Rock. Corey Graves recently described what it's been like working under Triple H as a WWE commentator by stating that his headsets have been as quiet as they've ever been. You love to see this, especially considering the things we heard about when Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn were still with the company. Michael Cole and Pat McAfee are killing it on Raw. And then you have Corey and Wade Barrett, who have been a fun duo on SmackDown. The commentary also feels so much more raw and authentic. It sounds like a real conversation, and that's what I like about it. Not only is Triple H making wrestling fun for the fans again, but even the employees are enjoying it as well. And finally, the last story for the day is that PW Insider is reporting that Okada is expected to make his AEW debut tonight on tonight's episode of Dynamite. Good luck to him and the run that he's going to have with the company. This should be a great moment for all of wrestling. Okada debuting in AEW is huge. They're really about to get Okada tonight, then Mercedes next week in Boston, and potentially an MJF return in a couple weeks. AEW's on fire. Good for them. Anyways, that is it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you all in the next video.